Rock of the Marne. Just halfway through turn 7, right after the Germans moved. Now, this is just before the French invasion, French assault is about ready to start from over on the west map, and some on the south as well. What have I managed to do? Well, tightened up the situation around Shalom. Really just tried to reinforce my line all along this western, and especially the trench. Grabbed some allied trench hexes to just give me a little bit more space. There was a unit I was moving down. Let's see where they got to. Yeah, they actually joined the main German force. But once again, managed to cut off those French forces, and things look a little grimmer this time. There's a little bit more strength in place. Got my German unit back into supply. Tightened the cordon around the forces. There's only one only one Allied headquarters, an Italian one, that's left to try to break out from that side. So they get one more shot, and depends on whether or not the French nearby headquarters can revitalize. Otherwise, those units, I don't know what happens to them. We'll see. But I'm going to try to eliminate them. There's no question about that, because getting rid of a lot of French troops has to be good, right? Even if I have to kill a lot of Germans to do it. It would certainly free up, I mean, let's say I got a trade there, it would free up more Germans than French. So it seems like a good move, and you certainly do not want the counterattack to free these guys. You definitely don't want that happening as the Germans. Over on Chalon, which looks kind of like the same kind of beachhead, but they've got supply running onto the other side of the Marne, and trying to make an assault across the Marne at this point in the game seems silly. I mean, the one that I made here, which was intended to cut off a bigger chunk of French, I've got the bridge, but I'm not doing anything with it now. I might just destroy that bridge depending on what happens. It could come in handy, though. That's definitely German territory right now, and if those French units die, all the more. Top of turn 8. The French assault has commenced, and the German line west of Soissons is gone. Completely demolished. French and Allies took some losses, but pretty much one unit per attack, whereas the Germans took whatever they had, with one exception, which is right here. They managed to hold on there. They had a machine gun there, so it absorbed an extra step. In general, they had 2 steps everywhere. They took 3-step losses in a lot of cases, including where they had a headquarters. And they just disintegrated. Combination of artillery, air power, everything else thrown in, definitely did the job. To the south, didn't move the French much, just reinforced the line. I'm counting on that northern line winning the game, basically. At least at this point. I'm not going to try to make attacks at lower odds. The vast odds, the armor, the artillery, the air, combined managed to give me tremendous advantages. On the other hand, where there weren't those advantages was down here, and the French failed to get themselves in supply. That one out of supply marker is to mark the entire command over here. Everything there is out of supply, so all of its defense strengths are halved. It can't fight its way out of the gap anymore, and I don't know if I guess the Germans are going to try to reduce that. We'll see what happens there. Oh, over to the east. French pulled back a little bit more, but they got some reinforcements coming, and now they're in supply back there, so they might be able to break that nut. Not that it's worth anything. The only thing that's worth anything there is Chanson, or Shalom. There is nothing until back here that's worth any victory points beyond that, but it seems more reasonable to attack the Germans there and try to break that line and let the entire French army out, rather than try to score some points in the background those kind of actions not only are goofy, but they usually don't work very well. And I'm hoping this system is unforgiving enough. There should be some German reinforcements coming. I don't know where they come in, but they might be coming in up there. I'm not going to look it up and try to figure out whether it's safe. It seems best to free up that army. At the very least, it might be able to save some of these guys. That's about it. Field. You can't see much with this map. Halfway through turn 8. Germans pulled back and repositioned a couple of units over in Soissons. It's not enough to hold it, but it's safer than where they were. Still trying to hold most of that trench line, though, all the way down. Over on Chalon, nut tightens a little bit. But speaking of tightening a nut, crushing those out-of-supply units, major goal for the Germans at this point. Once they can free up their army there, they can do a lot. So they killed off a lot of them. Got probably better damage than they took. It's hard to tell. Had to decide on this bridge. I'm considering ripping it up just because it's kind of a weak point for the Germans, but right now the French don't have, and the Allies don't have enough troops there. And once this nut is broken, there could be an exploit available because of it. So I'm leaving it open right now, just as a temporary situation, because if the Germans can get on the other side of Chalon, they can cut off that French army. And that would probably win them the game, I would hope. If not, I don't know. But that's certainly my my feeling. I'm not counting the points to see. There's a lot of points up here, so that's kind of maybe questionable. We'll see. End of turn 8. I don't have much time here. Allies march towards Soissons, putting it at risk. They did get smashed hard by this one German unit in defense. They lost like 3 steps and had to retreat. They also made another attempt at freeing these guys. The first attack was those 2 units down to the south, the 3-6 and the 1-2. They also got beaten off. However, the better odds attack actually linked up, and now that entire area south of the river is in supply tenuously, whereas the guys north of the river are still out of supply and will be halved. That is about it. Moved forward with these guys a little bit. Got a big pile of English troops coming in, though. We'll see what happens with them. Yeah, but it's definitely developing into a place where you actually roll the dice now. The German attack didn't feel like that. It felt like the French constantly wanted to withdraw.